Welcome. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Just want to talk about what's going on. I call this getting a grip, and I yap for half an hour about what's on my mind because I think it's also on your minds. Baraka's here, Kathy's here, and so much to talk about. So I try to just pick a few things and then see where it goes in terms of. Do you feel like this too? I'm very aware that we the people are being treated like we're children and we don't know anything. Has anyone noticed that? We're being treated like by the MAGA Republicans like we're children and we need to be disciplined and we need to be told what to do and we need to be bullied and you need to obey the rules and whatever we do is, it's up to us whatever happens, Have we all noticed how they treat us like we're children? And that they're the strict parents, these MAGA Republicans. I love it when MAGA Mike, of course I'm being sarcastic, I love it when MAGA Mike, if I'm mentioning his name, I'm not loving anything he does. He says about this war, the so-called Speaker of the House says about this war that, they have to go, behind closed doors and have meetings without our input. It's our money. And I saw a headline today that said that Trump is offering, he might have already paid it out, I think it's $1.5 million to Mike Flynn, the treasonous, seditionist traitor. And I talked yesterday and the day before about the wind farm that was slated to go and to be built off the coast, the East Coast here, and a French company was all set to go. I don't know how far along they were on building the wind farm, but Trump doesn't like windmills. He has maybe he has nightmares about windmills growing legs and chasing him and catching him and the blades. I mean, like, what the heck? So he says to this French company that's already got contracts out and plans all drawn up to build a huge wind farm off the East Coast, I'm all for that. I want my utility bills to go down. We all feel the same way in this crazy economy we're in that he's crashing. And he said, we'll give you $1 billion to not build it. $1 million of our money to not build the wind farm. I'm not sure where we are in that, but I do sense a lot of litigation coming. So these MAGA Republicans, I mean, I'm going to play a little bit of this for you because I just came across this dude this is on CNN. His name is, let's see. He's in Ohio, and his name is Senator John Husted. Okay, so he's trying to make a case for we have to have voter ID and we have to have this and we have to have that because these Democrats like the Democrats are the problem. Like they need to tell us what to do. They need to tell us that elections aren't free and fair. Says who? Voter fraud was never a thing. It's just in their imaginations. So here he is. Here's your annoyance of the day. There are plenty.
Doesn't have any registration requirements. My amendment.
Listen to him.
Yes, to anything.
Voter ID law in Ohio informing your support for the bill.
SAVE Act.
Well, it works. I was Secretary of State for 2 terms in Ohio. We made it easy to vote and hard to cheat. It really...
Easy to vote and hard to cheat. They made it easier to vote and hard to cheat. That's what he's saying. Back in the day when voter fraud wasn't a thing.
We're just asking people to provide one of 5 options. Your driver's license, your state ID.
5.
Your military ID or veterans ID. Your passport or tribal ID. This has worked well. It works well in Ohio and Georgia, New Hampshire, other places.
Okay, so hang on a second because my history of voting is such that I was never asked for anything to verify that I'm an American citizen because I'm on the voter roll. And I know that in different places they might have asked for ID. But my history is that I just went in, I gave them my address, I was in the book, and they gave me a ballot, and I went and voted. And that's the way that it has been in most places. Now maybe you show a license or something, but they want to keep us from voting. That's what they want. So just listen to this guy telling us what we need to do. Barbara was never asked. Yeah, we were never asked. We all have a history of just going in. Oh, it's election day, and we felt good voting. Look, I'm showing up to participate in this election. It's my civic duty. I'm doing my civic duty to support my country, to support democracy, to get the candidate into office that I think will be best for this country. Here I am. I'm in the book, and look, this is my address, and that's definitely where I live. If you needed to bring a utility bill, maybe that's something, maybe. It's not really necessary if you're in the book, but never this. But he's trying to back it up. So what they continually do is it's like this. I can give you this sort of example. If you're a teenager in high school, and we were all there. If you're a teenager in high school, and somebody assumes that just because you're a teenager, you must be bad. And they treat you as if you are really bad and you're a troublemaker and you need to be disciplined. And you're just like, yeah, it kind of feels like that. I don't know who this dude is, but wow, wrote him out.
The new photo ID laws. There are 36 states that have some form of ID law. That's why I can't believe that the Democrats aren't willing to go along with something so simple that 80% of the American people support. But they are unwilling to say yes to anything that we're trying to do. Even I listened to what Leader Schumer said, and I said, okay, let's strip out the things they don't like.
That voter ID law you're talking about in Ohio, that voter ID law you're talking about in Ohio wasn't actually in place when you were Secretary of State there, and that new Ohio voter ID law is actually significantly more lax than the SAVE Act requirements. Significantly.
It's actually not on the photo ID provisions. It's not at all. It's the exact same.
Well, but the underlying registration is key. I mean, in Ohio, you can register to vote online using a driver's license of the last four of your social, and under the SAVE Act,
doesn't have
you have to go.
Let's be
clear.
Yeah,
but your bill is an amendment on. Your bill is an amendment. It's an amendment.
But they didn't vote. They didn't vote. If you're gonna let me finish so I can get the facts, my bill doesn't have any registration requirements. My amendment that we just voted on, that no Democrat voted on, was photo ID, exactly what we have in Ohio, the exact same tools that they have in Georgia, that they have in other.
He goes on to talk about how the Democrats are so unreasonable. But by the way, he's in Ohio, as you heard. Call him up. You can call up anybody in Congress. Let me just tell you who he is. Secretary of Defense. No, hang on. I'll put it in the description, but you get my point. So then they're going on about ICE, about how dare the Democrats not fund ICE and DHS? How dare they? They're so terrible. And did they not hear about Renee Good and Alex Preddy? Did they not hear about what ICE is doing to people? Did they miss that part? So I'm having issue with us, we the people, being treated like we're bad children and operating from that assumption. And I've had it with the way that they demean us by not saying Democratic bill or Democratic state or Democratic, because I just want you all to know that that's a way of trying to change the language by using it improperly. And remember the Gulf of America? Remember, Trump Kennedy Center? Like, they want us to use the language that they decide we are supposed to use. And every time we push back, they make it appear like we're such troublemakers. because we just want to be normal. They're also doing it with our media. So here we are, the consumers that consume the media, that participate in the media. Now we have social media, so there's mass participation, there's mass communication. We have like a robust social media, many robust social media platforms, and all these other channels that the Ellison family is gobbling up are channels that get money from the cable companies because it's in the cable box package that you pay for. So they think that it's a problem for us to have information that's truthful and logical. So the Ellison family has bought up, hang on, bear with me, has bought up, and I've told you this before, but I just want you to see the Ellison family's media empire. Mary Trump had this on her YouTube channel today. This is all the networks, the media networks that the Ellison family has bought up. So basically, there's a whole bunch of them. And by the way, Mary Trump mentioned that she was kicked off of TikTok and is having trouble on YouTube also. We're bad children because we don't vote for them. Yeah, that's what they're thinking. So now they have to treat us like we have to monitor. I mean, like parents that have little ones that don't want them to see violence or sex scenes, right? So it's like that. We are adults. We are grown people. You know, I mean the people in our military, I'll talk about that in a second. When they're 18, they can join the military. I think Trump is trying to lower the age. But anyway, we're old enough to make our own choices and decisions. And these oligarchs and these corrupt MAGA politicians, they need for us to take our place below them. Has anybody recognized that that's what they're attempting to do? Now, maybe that worked in a feudal system. Maybe that worked in the monarchies. But the reason that it worked was because the people didn't know anything different. When our founding fathers, when our earliest settlers came to America, they got away from all that. And they started to think about, I really think this is how it went. They were in the New World, and they started to think about how it would be to not be under a monarchy. They got to feel what that was like and to really think about it when they weren't under the direct rulership of the king. It seems like, oh, freedom, that could be, wow, freedom, what an interesting concept. So the problem is we haven't had the experience of being in a feudal system in this lifetime anyway. We haven't had the experience in America of being under a king. Like I talked about yesterday, this isn't going very smoothly for them because we have a frame of reference for what it is to just be able to say whatever we want. I'm still trying to adjust to this craziness, and I'm really working on not having it be normalized that there's certain things that you shouldn't say or you might get in trouble. What is this, freaking grammar school? So the Ellison family has decided that they need to make sure that the American people are taking in through the media what they have deemed the right thing, right-wing extremists, Christian nationalist extremists, oligarchs, that they need to decide what we should and shouldn't watch. They need to decide what it's okay for us to take in and for us to not take in. I'm sorry, if you're an intelligent thinking human being, nothing could be really, I can't think of very much that would be more offensive than that. It's like pointing to somebody and saying, you're a stupid, dumb idiot, and so I'm going to have to tell you everything. I'm going to have to tell you the way it is, how things go. And this is only going to work for people who are already Christian nationalist extremists, and it's only going to work for people that don't know what's going on and that are low information victims or misinformation or disinformation victims. Because if somebody's not kind of like being curious and asking questions, and if people aren't alert to, and unfortunately a lot of people aren't alert to, when something subtly changes in the media, right? Like I'm talking about, there's certain things that I feel like I can't say, like Mary Trump was mentioning in her video today, that instead of saying, now I can't even say it, right? Instead of saying, I'll just say killed or murder, you have to say unalived. Like, I have a frame of reference for, you can say whatever you want. So little by little, they're incrementally attempting to design the media according to their idea of what we should and shouldn't watch. This is North Korea. Worst case scenario is North Korea and Russia. Maybe China to some extent. So it will work for people that don't inherently feel that they have agency over their lives. And here's where I'm going to give you a pep talk. If you don't feel that you have agency over your lives, over your individual life, if you don't have a feeling of, I'm in charge of this, I'm in charge of this thing, I have agency over this thing, I have dominion, I am the authority in my own life. If I don't like something in my life, it's up to me to change it. People that don't have that volition, people that don't have a sense of, I am who I am, and I have an inner compass, an inner knowing of what's right for me and what's not right for me, what feels like truth and what doesn't feel like truth, those are the people they won't be able to get to. Alexei Navalny is behind me. He was in a different system, but he knew that. And the one thing that Putin couldn't take from him was his dignity and his sense of who he was. We're not being asked to go to that point, but we are being asked by future generations, because it's about us standing up for our right to have dominion and authority over our own lives. It's us finding that place within ourselves that dictates what happens for the future generations. If it's hard to get dominion over our own lives, we're not going to be teaching that to our children. And in order to feel like you have dominion and authority, for us to feel that over our own lives during these times that they're treating us like bad children that need to be punished and that they can't trust to vote without cheating, when they treat us like that, if we, those of us who know how to stand up for ourselves will say, hell no, we're not doing that. Hell no. By the way, this is a democracy. Where's my Constitution? I move things all the time. By the way, this is a democracy. We're not doing that. We all need to practice having agency over this, over our own selves. So put your hand over your heart and say to yourself, I have agency. I have dominion. I am the authority in my own life. There ain't nobody that's going to tell me what to think. Nobody's going to tell me that I'm not trustworthy. Nobody's going to tell me that because of my political, maybe Democrat or independent, nobody's going to tell me that because, say, I'm a Democrat, that I must be a cheater. Nobody's going to tell me that because I know that I don't steal and cheat. I've determined that. I've established it in my own life. When given the choice, should I be dishonest and cheat, or should I be truthful, it's not a question. I know that I do the thing that's the right thing because I choose that. They're trying to tell us that we're all cheaters and that we can't be trusted. Now, let's really think about this. Projection is the name of the game. They're trying to manipulate those who don't have a strong sense of agency into believing that you can't be trusted and none of your ilk can be trusted. Are we mad as hell and not going to take it anymore? I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to show you what happened when some idiots decided that Doge needed to take over. This is last January. What happened when somebody decided that Doge needed to take over because these Democrats, all this fraud and all this waste, oh, those Democrats, oh, we have to fix all this fraud and all this waste. So Elon, who manipulated the votes, Trump admitted it. Remember this? Remember this? With Milei from Argentina that we gave $40 billion? Not approved by Congress. Trump gave him $40 billion. The man who ruined the economy of Argentina? Yeah, that's him. And there's Elon with the chainsaw, with a ketamine pumped, with a chainsaw that he decided to take to our government, shut down USAID, and like 270,000 plus federal government workers lost their jobs. And I don't know about anybody here, but even if you didn't do anything wrong and you lose your job, or if you didn't do anything wrong and you end up in court, it feels like, it gives you a feeling that you must have done something terrible. And that's a psychological manipulation tool. Take all the American people, all these people that are used to living in a democracy for 250 years, a lot of generations, take all these American people, this is their ploy, and make them feel like they are a problem. According to whom? I think we're out of practice with we the people have the power. We the people run the government. We're out of practice, and that is our own failure, right? There are lots of things that happened that lined up to make it that way for so many people. But now, this is where the rubber hits the road. Now, we have got to, every single one of us, do a freaking self-esteem check. Because I think that's what it amounts to. Do we let people push us around in our own lives when we're doing the best that we can to be a good person? Do we let people say to us, "You're a terrible thief. You are so awful"? Do we just let them say that? Because if they do, I mean, I would walk away unless I'd done something heinous. Unless I'd done something that warranted that, right? You don't want people pointing to you and saying, "You're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem." And that's exactly what they're doing. And this Ellison family taking over the media, and this Heritage Foundation, and this Russell Vogt, and the rest of them that are attempting to take away all of our rights. And this MAGA Mike Johnson, who's like, "Oh, well, we're the ones that know about the war plans," and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they're trying to make it seem as though they do. And you heard that stupid representative. It doesn't even warrant me going back and finding out what his name is. I did say it, Halstead. I think it's important that we all pass on this message to everybody that we meet. It matters. You matter. You matter. You count. So you show up. because you'll be with the rest of us and we're all showing up and you're included. When we get into more of an inclusive sort of vibe with one another in America, then those people that we've decided to include are going to want to show up. Just like we teach a child self-esteem, we teach a child self-esteem. We can teach one another. Like a child is not going to have a very good life if they're just beaten down and beaten down and beaten down, criticized it all the time, right? We have to treat one another as though, you know what, you're included. I want you to know if you come to this rally, you're going to be with us. Maybe when you go to a rally, wouldn't this be a novel thing? Whatever rally you show up to, and I hope everybody's intending to go to a rally. If you would rather work from home, I heard there's some online rallies going on. But anyway, when you go to a physical rally, this is what I'd really love to see. Honestly. Yeah, maybe I'll see you there, Kate. This is what I'd really love to see. And I don't see enough of this, and I know you all don't see enough of this, and it's time for this. How about we go up to people that we don't know and we start up a conversation? How about that? Because you know what? If you're a little shy to do that, they're probably a little shy to do that too. So why don't we join forces knowing we are out of practice with forming community? Most people are. If that wasn't true, it wouldn't be statistically found that 1 out of 2 people in America report being terribly lonely. 1 out of 2. Half of the population is lonely. That's the truth. That's a huge part of the reason, in my opinion, why America fell into this abyss of this hellscape. And that's why democracy fumbled and was falling apart, because the MAGAs had a place to join where they felt like, okay, we all love Trump, right? And what were the Democrats doing? What were the rest of us doing? Oh, we're doing our own thing. That has its perks, but it's not democracy if we're not getting together. So if we are not up for being bossed around by a bunch of effing idiot faces who think that they're better than everybody else, and who think we're going to heaven, even though they lie and they cheat and they steal and they have all kinds of crimes they're committing, if we don't want them to be subjected to that, then we're going to have to tell them to take a hike. Oh, Kate's got some friends coming from Maine and staying at your place. Yeah, exactly. So let's reach out to one another, because we don't want these buffoons, these idiots, these greedy ass jerks telling us who we are. I've said it before in my Substacks. Maybe one of my first live Substacks. America has an identity crisis. So maybe for the first time ever, we're coming to a place where we go, whoa, who am I anyway? And who are we as a country? The rest of the world is looking on in horror, and they have been looking on in horror for the past 10 years. Because even when Joe Biden was president, the MAGAs were still in the way. And I don't know about you guys, but I hardly remember Biden being president in a certain way, because he wasn't in the headlines. Trump was in the headlines. So the rest of the world is looking at us going, oh, well, America, we know what a country is by how the people behave. So as far as the rest of the world is concerned, how we are looking right now is as if we don't care. That's what I think. I think the world is perceiving us as like, wow, they're not out on the streets. An illegal war was started. America bombed a school with elementary school with little girls, and the rest of the world is looking at this like, aren't the Americans going to show up? It'll get better when we start inviting each other in. it'll get better when we look at these rallies as something we don't stop doing. And after we get this regime ousted, we don't just go back to our whatever we're doing. When I first started my group a few years back called Grassroots of Democracy, which I eventually stopped right before the election in 2024 for lack of interest. When I first started it and people were like, we had lots of meetings on Zoom. Some of you were there. And people would say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. My comeback line was always, you might want to think about that, because the reason you're so busy is because you live in a democracy. If you were in North Korea, you wouldn't be so busy running here and running there because you're in a work camp. And in North Korea, if you don't have a picture of Kim Jong-un in your home, you could go to prison if you weren't already there. And in North Korea, if you don't smile or show the right emotion at an event that you're required to attend that Kim Jong-un is hosting or whatever, guest speech or whatever, if you don't show up, you could be thrown in prison. We have something in America that's so, so precious. And as a collective nation, we have kind of pissed all over it. Just in the sense, I don't mean to be offensive, but just in the sense that we've not treated our democracy. It's not an individual person that's done this. It's us all together. And nefarious forces made sure that we kind of put it on the back burner. We'll never go back to that again. And it will be worth being together, fighting and fighting for our democracy back, rebuilding our democracy, and being communities again. Let's be communities again. Because of the economic crisis that's coming, and I would go so far as to say a crash, we're at risk of going into a depression. Because of that, people will be forced to come together. With the price of gas going up to as high as it's going to go, which I'm estimating it's going to be up to like $10 a gallon, people will be forced to use public transit. And when you're forced to be with people, whether you like it or not, you're going to end up just talking to each other. Even if you're kind of an introvert, you'll end up just smiling at somebody or saying hello or opening the door, right? We will be a better country. I know it's trial by fire, but we will be a better country. And I have faith in all of us because I know how many people are showing up for these rallies on Saturday. It's going to be amazing. It's going to move the needle. Never, ever, ever give up. Find your inner Ukrainian. Find your inner Alexei Navalny. We have a lot of work to do, but what did Kamala say? Kamala, who got cheated out of the election? No wonder my YouTube numbers are going down. They cheated. Trump had help. Kamala said on the campaign trail, it's going to be hard work, but we like hard work. So let's show that we love hard work and we love community. We're just out of practice, but we can get it back. Thank you so much for showing up. Please hit the thumbs up and the hype button when this pops up on YouTube. And those of you who follow me on YouTube, we're having a guided meditation for a healed America tonight, as we do every single Thursday night. It's a mere half hour of your time. So join us there. It's a live stream at 7. And I chit-chat for 15 minutes, and then we go into a 15-minute meditation. And you can always do it afterwards. It really helps. It helps a lot. We all need to be grounded during these times. So I'll see you there. And thanks once again. And I'll be back tomorrow here on Substack. Check out the article that I wrote this week. It has a picture of the black and white drawing of the Titanic sinking. We'll be okay. All right. See you soon. I love to say namaste. See ya.